So we are now taking a look at, we're staying within Manufacturing X, and we're looking at business models and how they pave the way to value creation in the ecosystem. Unfortunately, both announced speakers have encountered some personal challenges, but we are in luck. Marek from Hilscher will represent Andreas' part here, and then Jonas will also not be able to join us in person, but we have organized him to participate online with us. So we have a hybrid presentation today, and I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you very much for jumping in last minute. And I have one more announcement to make. The car holder with the number plate VSMM831E. You are charging at a charging station that is not working, so we recommend to change your car position. Okay. Marek?
Yes?
Please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good morning. So 2 days ago I didn't expect to stand here, but now I do. Things can happen. But this shows us also the advantage of digitalization, because one of the speakers will join us remotely. 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible in this way. And the other one communicated with us. We exchanged, while not being here together, we exchanged slides and how we want to present. Also there, we see how digitalization changes our everyday life. So it's a good example, also not expected. Okay, so we heard about Factory X just in the talk before. Factory X is one project in the program of Manufacturing X, funded by the German government. And when we look at the vision of the program Manufacturing X, one of the 3 elements in the vision is enabling innovative value creation, creating new types of value for everybody in the industry. And that doesn't work without a business model. Of course, like we have heard in the talk before, it's multiple layers. So it's, of course, about technology. It's about applications. It's about use cases, all of that. But it is also about business models, because if you don't have a business model for the new value creation, you won't get beyond a POC. Let's look at how the industry tackles business models today in relation to service-oriented offerings. Typically today, you have machines, you have components which companies bring to the market, and services are often added on top after the fact. They are extras, right? They're nice to have, but they come on top of the core products. The next evolution, and some companies already are doing that in our industry, bundling products, the assets, with more and more services around the product. Could be actually support services, digital services, and so on. So the second phase is having a bundle designed from the start of assets and services, which gives you a lot of benefits, right? I mean, you create more value for your customers. I mean, if you don't, better don't do it. So it creates more value for your customers. It creates for you additional revenue streams. You have a tighter business relationship with your customer, because it's not just a one-time sale, but you have continuous services, and so on. And you have, ideally, competitive advantage, because you can do with services something different than your competitors. So lots of benefits. But it doesn't stop there, because if we now think one step ahead, it's not just a single product with services by the same vendor. It's actually multiple products connected. It's services connected. It's services on top of services, because they can be connected. And with that network, you create additional value for everybody. So ecosystems form around services, around the core asset products. That's the journey we are all on together. It's not just about adding a bit of digital services to your one product, but it's about really the ecosystems that will emerge. And we all want to be part of that, right? That's why we are here. There are different ways to look at how the ecosystems can emerge. They can be thought top-down, like in smart factory visions, where you say, okay, let's think up how my whole digital factory will look like, how process will look like. Let's plan it top-down. That's one approach. The other one is bottom-up, system of systems, everything as a service. So everything comes as a service, comes with services. And then companies, people start building additional services on services and so on. So it's bottom-up or top-down. No matter which approach you follow, the question is, should you do it alone or with partners? And if you look at studies like a survey we want to cite here by VDMA and McKinsey, people in the industry have been asked, how do you think you will succeed? And when asked about, like, do you think you will succeed when you cooperate with companies before and after you in your value chain, 3/4 say, yes, we will succeed with that. Collaborating with third parties, 70% say yes. Interesting is the question, do you think you will succeed when you just follow your own approach, the one you come up with? 1/4 says, yes, we will be successful with that. Cooperating with competitors, 23%, so people are hesitant collaborating with competitors. Whether that's right or wrong, up to me to judge. But machine and plant manufacturers clearly recognize that they need to cooperate. Cooperation is key in the industry of tomorrow. The different ways to cooperate. What we see today is cooperation is often bilateral. One company cooperating with another company, like vertically, one company cooperates with a supplier, or horizontally, cooperation between peers, like in a joint venture. But what we should really think about, and that's what the two speakers before also talked about, what is key in Factory X is we should think about multilateral cooperation. Can we put that on a basis where it's not just one-to-one, but many-to-many? Across industries, across country borders, with different types of contracts and deals, can we really bring that to a new level? If we look at existing ecosystems that we see today in the market, some ecosystems are formed around solutions. So a company that is creating an ecosystem puts its own solution in the center and then talks upstream to suppliers, talks downstream to direct customers, end customers, things about, or cooperates with implementation partners, but it's solution-centered. Other types of ecosystems we see are platform ecosystems, where you have a central platform in the middle, you have suppliers on one side, consumers on the other side. If it's a two-sided platform, there are also one-sided platforms, etc. Different topic. That's what we see today, but there must be more. And that's what we heard before in the talk, that there must be a different way where you don't have like the central platform in the middle that takes your data and takes smaller or bigger share of the profit, but there must be a different way of cooperating in an ecosystem where it's more on a peer-to-peer basis, but on a foundation, technologically wise, but also in terms of a legal framework, where you can easily cooperate with others without the burden to define everything from scratch, but without giving too much away to like a central platform or so. So there must be more, and why do we do it, and how do we do it? First of all, what's the potential of business ecosystems? Again, citing some studies. In one, stakeholders in the industry were asked, like, what do you think, what will be the potential for you with business ecosystems? And typical answers are, I get competitive advantages. I can provide better customer support. I can offer better customer experience, and it will drive innovation and disruption. So companies clearly see benefits and business benefits of forming business ecosystems. But then those ecosystems can also fail. And that's another study, I think it was done by Boston Consulting Group. They have asked what have been failures, actually they have looked in their database, what are failures of business ecosystems? Why did that fail? They analyzed, and what they found out, only 15% of the failures are actually due to bad execution. 85% are in the design of the business ecosystem. So it's most of the times failures of business ecosystems are not about execution. There are cases of bad execution, yes, but most of the time it's bad design, and just 50% of failures of business ecosystems are caused by either having the wrong ecosystem configuration, so wrong partners, or by wrong governance structure. That means even if you have the right partners in your ecosystem, if you don't have the right governance structure, that's 1/3 of the failures of business ecosystems. So there are plenty of reasons we see why things can go wrong, even if you have the right technological answer. And that's why Factory X is not just about technology. It's not just about, I mean, it's important. We talk about the use cases and how we can have tool chains where tools really exchange data. Tools from different vendors, companies that are in a supply chain to create something. It is about technology and interfaces, but it's also about all the other frameworks we need, and it's about business models. And the question, what will work in the end for everybody? Because we want to get beyond POC level. We don't want to have just a technical demonstrator. We want to really make it happen in the industry at large in the end. And that's why there's a sub-project on its own within Factory X that just deals with business models and ecosystems. And that is what Jonas will talk about now. So I'm pleased to hand over to Jonas to present the second part of the talk today.
It's a very good introduction into the ecosystems, and for giving us some ideas of what contents are really important for us to handle in the next 2.5 years. But now the question arises, how do we want to achieve this goal? How do we want to work together, and who we actually are? And you can see here on the slide that we are a broad mix of big and smaller companies and associations, which includes the OEM perspective, as well as the component and the supplier perspective. We have many years of successful business experience in mechanical and plant engineering. This experience, combined with our urge to constantly discover new things and find new potential, has brought us together in this group. And in order to successfully develop this mechanical and plant engineering sector for the future, we need the help of new value creation opportunities through the use of new business models. Because we are convinced that there's no way around for cross-company value creation in ecosystems in the future. So our vision is to enable the participants in the digital ecosystems to independently expand their data-driven value creation through our results of the sub-project number 3. And to achieve this, first we will analyze existing approaches and opportunities in the market, in academia, and best practices. Because the goal of Factory X is not only to create new business model patterns, we have a lot of them. The goal is to leverage the knowledge that we gained from previous research projects, such as Gaia X, Catena X, or Xforge, as well as the experiences of our companies in the consortium. And this knowledge will be adapted to meet the specific requirements of the 11 use cases that we have in Factory X. Secondly, we are going to go to investigate and understand the necessary operating principles for these new ecosystems, the roles and competencies we need for the required for the development and adaptation of these business model patterns. After this, we are going to develop and build these tools and implementation aids to ensure the successful implementation, because only if we work together, we have the full potential. And in the end, it's really, really important to explain and describe how we can implement this new business model patterns. That's a really big topic for the small and medium enterprises and for the OEMs too. And in order to achieve this, we have developed a procedure based on the agile approach that Factory X will follow. And our first working package involves compiling all relevant findings on this business model and potentials from current research, industrial practice, and use cases. This will include creating a catalog of requirements that we need for building up our new business model patterns. Then we are going to go to consolidate the analysis. We are going to identify the business model patterns that are relevant for us and design a catalog of criteria. And the third step is to select and design these relevant digital business models for use in these digital ecosystems, to understand how they will work here and what we need for doing it with other companies together. And to achieve this, we have to involve this creating business model blueprints and corresponding procedures based on the consolidated view of the analyzed business model approaches. So you can see our approaches that we want to collect, we want to analyze, and then to build up. This is followed by the developing implementation strategies, because you can build a lot of things, and we have a lot of business model patterns on the market. But one of the biggest topics here is how we can implement this and how can we bring it to a scaled number of using in the market. And for this, it's really important to understand what are the necessary skills and roles for implementing the selected business models for the different roles in these ecosystems. And regarding to our agile approach, we will do the phases 2 and 3 with an internal testing phase. So we get a short feedback really quick, and we can adapt our approaches and our development for a successful full development of our business model patterns. Because we believe that short development cycles and direct feedback are very essential for achieving the best possible outcome within the funding project scope. And now currently we are in the middle of this first phase. We're analyzing now the existing and failed approaches from our participating companies. And here's now a brief initial insight into the reasons why innovative business models such as platforms like Exum, Packside, or Mindsphere have not been as successful as they could have been. I would like to briefly address 2 or 3 points. And one of the biggest challenges here is that the level of digital maturity of the customers in the industry is very different. That's a big problem. You have some companies which are on a high level, and you have some previously, I would say, SMEs. They have to work with digital systems, but they can't because they work with a pencil and not with a personal computer. And that's the differences, and that we have to handle in Factory X, because we want only to provide the big players in the market. We want to provide the SMEs too. Furthermore, there's often no clear understanding of the true customer needs and the right use cases. And for this, it's so important to understand how our use cases in Factory X work. And then, after we understand this, we can develop the right business models patterns for that. And a third thing, Often we have the problem that there are no real plug-and-play solutions that really work for 100%. The following thesis I will present you now can be derived from this initial analysis and the experience we gained in the last few years. Thesis number 1. It is very important to really understand the needs of both the customers and the providers. Secondly, the real added value of the solution must be clearly recognizable and communicated. Only then will the customer be prepared to pay for it. And that's important because we can develop a lot of technical and business model pattern things, but if the customer is not ready to pay for that, we don't get enough money to run our business. Third, in addition, it is important to make both the costs on the one hand and the pricing on the other hand understandable, simple and transparent. So everyone can check it and can decide for his own. And thesis number 4, and the last one, for a successful collaboration and scaling, we need to open up the ecosystems to the relevant parties. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest challenges and one of the game changer for bringing Factory X on the road. So now we would like to talk to you. So we have brought here 3 questions, and I would like to hand over to Marek again. And we are gonna go to work with Slido. I hope it will work.
Thank you. Could you please show the QR code again of our Slido tool, which you have here on the left. Please scan this to ask questions also for our guests online. This is a possibility to interact with our speakers. If you have any answers or questions, there were 3 questions by Jonas, right? Oh, yes. Maybe you could answer these questions.
Yeah, so the first question is, what role do you see for yourself regarding such ecosystems? And let's see how the answers come in.
So looks like most of
this question
our
for me?
participants are users.
Well, with
it
only
changed
1 digit
already.
number, it doesn't tell us much
it
yet.
Changed. Okay, 63% contributors. Oh, you can see the number of participants. I didn't see that.
Right, yes. We see a clear trend, but let's wait a bit longer.
27. I see people typing. Our guests online, they take about they have a minute delay, so we can probably not wait for them now. So this is representative for the people who are here with us today.
Yes, so we see that most, like 2/3 of people see themselves in a contributor role. Now, the second question is already shown, and we have some answers as well. The second question is about expectations about sharing of data, and not like sharing in the sense of giving it away, but in a planned manner. And well, most of the people, or 1/3, expect usage privileges. So yes, I'm willing to give my data away, but I expect something in return that doesn't need to be monetary, but it could be just that I get some insights or use of services and whatever. 1/4 says monetary. 1/4 says yes in kind. So I give data, I expect some data or insights back. Good news is that only 6% say I would never share my data. So I think that's already a progress we see here. 6% say it can be free.
And there was a third question?
There's a third question, which we'll see now.
What expectations?
What expectations do you have to the project, to the topic of business models. There was free text, so interesting to see a realistic project to validate the ecosystem and its potential, yes. Closer cooperation between partners, exploration of new ideas, a tiered approach, process improvements, clarification of emerging value streams. Yeah, I think that's very important to understand what the new value streams will be. Clear models, visible results, scalability, different levels. Buzzword-free examples, yes, that's helpful. Yeah, so thanks a lot for your answers. I promise we will look to all the answers afterwards and take that into the project so it will not be lost. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Marek. And also thank you to Jonas out there. I hope everything works out well. Also to Andreas, who could not come today. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the best. Have a great day.
Slide or QR code